Last week, we both saw a movie called Darjeeling Express, directed by Wes Anderson, starring Owen Wilson, Jason Schwartzman, and Adrian Brody. What did you think of the movie?
I didn't like it.
I liked it a lot.
Why?
I would not recommend the average person to go see this movie.
Okay.
It's a very special slice of life that he depicts. Upper class, upper white males. This movie takes place in India. It's about three millionaire kids, who go on a really quite preposterous trip across India looking for their mother, who's become a nun. They're sort of in search for themselves in a vague way.
They seem irresponsible beyond anything that I've seen in many years in the film. That's the wrong word.
It is totally the wrong word.
Yeah,
you used the word.
I don't want to use that word.
You did.
Well, I'm going to give it back. They seem people who are not in touch with the world that we're living in.
Every movie doesn't have to be about Iraq and all these things. They're in touch with the world that they live in. Is a different world. They have their own problems. I just found them interesting because it was so very different from most movies.
Do you think he's going to continue to make the same movie over and over again?
Yes.
But he gets wonderful cast. He must be the most charming fellow in the world.
Angelica Houston and Bill Murray work with him regularly.
Yes.
They're in all his movies.
Yes.
I thought the soundtrack was sensational. It's the soundtrack of famous Indian movies. And the other thing, Wes Anderson has a weakness in all his movies for bizarre European rock bands. And there are two or three, I thought, very amusing rock numbers, funny lyrics, the French rock bands that are in there for no particular reason. The train is a total fantasy. That's, again, one of the things I like about it. It's a brightly painted, like a toy train. The conductor who has an absolutely perfect British accent.
He was perfect. You don't see any poverty, by the way, in India. Everything is beautiful and funny and marvelous to look at.
There's a certain person over here who immediately wants to see India. Oh, I want to see poverty.
Lorenzo,
if I don't see poverty, it's not the real India.
You make up, it's like you ask a question that you're going to answer to me. That's not true. I don't want to see necessarily. I said the reason he made the movie is that India is a beautiful place to shoot. Okay.
I thought it offended you that you didn't see poverty.
No.
That he uses India as a prop, in effect, as scenery. This movie is not about the Indian people. It's not about diversity. It's not about culture. He did not choose to make it about that. It is about three rich people.
And so finish that. So it's about three rich people. What then is the movie about?
Three rich people.
Period.
No kidding. You just said it.
That's it.
Thank you.
That's it. At the end of the film, when that luggage all comes off, that Marc Jacobs Louis Vuitton luggage, it shows they're giving up the baggage in their lives. I don't want to know those kids. I don't want them in my life.
I like those kids. I want them in my life.
What was the movie years ago, Metropolitan? You remember someone named Whit Stillman?
Actually, in the Wes Anderson movies, it's not a movie about excess consumption at all, which Metropolitan was. And also Stillman's other movie, Barcelona, which I didn't think was any good, was the same thing.
I don't think I ever saw it. I have one big objection in the movie, and it has to do with using the death of the little boy in India to show that they have become better people. I found it offensive. It's written to be part of to give them a reason for growing up, is what it gives them. It's a wrong, exploitive thing to do.
They're good actors. They play those parts extremely well. I mean, they seem very comfortable with them. I think they had fun making the movie, these guys.
Did you have any thought at all about, since we know that Owen Wilson since then had a medical problem, and they even infer in the movie that the accident that he is in might have been self-induced?
One is conscious of Owen Wilson's misfortune since then, his mental problem. Have you ever liked Wes Anderson movies?
The one that I liked quite a lot was Rushmore.
Do you know what Scorsese said about that movie?
Nope.
He wrote an article in Esquire about that movie in which he said, Wes Anderson is the next Scorsese, which is a pretty good compliment considering how Scorsese thinks of himself. All his characters, they act very low-key, like they're almost walking through it. They're almost zombie-like in a way. The whole point of these characters is that they're not connected to the world. He deliberately seeks out outrageous things. He's not, I mean, Marcia doesn't like it. It upsets her a great deal.
No, you're accusing me of wanting every movie to have a message.
Yes, I am.
No, that is not true. I want it to make sense of some kind.
For me, it was a feel-good movie. It was a feel-bad movie for you. Yes, you crouched in your seat.
Yeah,
I thought
wanted to leave.
You wanted to leave. I could tell that.
Yes.
And I had the car, and so you couldn't leave.
That's correct.